Here now, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas. Senator, nothing here to see?
Lawrence, good to be on with you. The Biden border surge was entirely predictable, and in fact, I predicted it last fall. You cannot promise amnesty, open borders, and health care for illegals and not expect migrants to surge to our border. And that's exactly what happened. Every month since the election, the number of migrants showing up at our borders increased, especially unaccompanied minors. And look what happened compared to the last year of the Trump administration. Unaccompanied minors this January were almost double what they were last January. This February, almost triple what they were. And remember, February is the depths of winter. Texas had a terrible winter storm. What is it going to be like in 2 months, in 60 days, when Texas and Mexico have springtime weather? This is entirely the fault of Joe Biden and his open borders policy.
You know, Senator, I've been to the border. I've talked to folks where it impacts them. I've seen the footies that they put on their feet to hide their tracks. I've talked with, the Border Patrol and understand how the cartel does the business on the border. How does this impact people that aren't on the border, though?
Well, remember, all of these migrants are going to get released in the country. Joe Biden is reinstituting catch and release. In fact, he's actually seeking out migrants who were turned away last year by Donald Trump's administration and inviting them to come back to the border. That's not catch and release, that's recruit and release. And when they get released in the country, they get work permits, they get told to show up at court sometimes as much as 2 years later, oftentimes they don't, and 4 times out of 5 when they have their cases heard, they lose their cases. But then they've got to be deported, right? Do you really think Joe Biden's administration is going to deport them after they've been in this country for 2 years with his permission? Please, that is not going to happen. This is going to flood our communities with more illegal labor, which is going to drive down American wages and take American jobs.
Sounds more like catch and release. Senator, under the Trump administration, it was called cages, and now it's called facilities. Did I miss something? Did they redesign some things? I was just at the border 3 weeks ago. What am I missing here?
Yeah. Pretty soon they may be calling them Joe Biden's summer fun camps. But look at what the DHS secretary said just yesterday. He said, we're not saying don't come, we're saying don't come now. What we should be saying is don't come. Our asylum process is not designed to accept hundreds of thousands of people at our border. It's designed primarily for people who are already here, say a Hong Konger who is here in school and his visa's expired and can't go back because now the Chinese Communist Party has cracked down in Hong Kong. If people overseas or people south of our border think that they have a valid claim to protected status in their country, they need to go to our embassies and our consulates and seek refugee status. They don't need to take the risks to cross Mexico, to go through smugglers and human traffickers and get to our border just because Joe Biden has opened the borders up.
Yeah, it's one thing to debate immigration reform, but the border issue is totally separate. And I think the American people know that there's a crisis, unlike what the DHS secretary said. Senator, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Lawrence.